down. But
Actually, when the show is finished, I will tell you what the joke is behind that, because that's a little bit of a private joke.
it's very exciting. I can't wait.
I should not have been on this planet,
You know,
and yet here I am. Fucking hell!
this is exciting. We're here. We're live. We are with the fans right now, and that's exciting.
And as I said to you, no, your eyes are not deceiving you. I am wearing Duran Duran t-shirt. Now, it's not that I've gone completely crazy.
Okay.
There is a little bit of reason. The reason why I own a Duran Duran t-shirt is because I'm stuck mentally, sort of like early to mid 80s. I'm kind of physically stuck there, right?
Okay. Why are you
But
stuck there?
It's the color scheme. It's the color scheme.
Okay.
It's the. I was looking for something that was sort of like a deep kind of a blood red, something that ties in with that.
Okay.
Which is the Partagás band.
You want a deep red? Hold on a second. We spare no expense at the show.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I know.
I think you did the right thing there. I think you.
Thank you very much. We spare no expense here at the show, so we are here to make sure that you, my friend, get exactly what you need.
What I like is in this world of AI and hi-fi technology that's gone, we are still struggling to change the curtain colors on a screensaver.
On the show, yes.
Well, when I say struggling, we can oscillate between blue, green, and red, but we can't get anywhere else.
Well, we have another color, but it doesn't do us any good.
Well, let's have a look.
We don't really show it. You want to see the other color?
I want to see the other color. Is it a yellow? Is it a gold?
Let me look.
Okay, let me guess. Hang on, before you put the color up, I'll guess the color. Purple.
Wrong on every occasion.
Well, that's kind of purpley blue.
That's blue. Do you want red, blue, or green today for your thing?
Well, what's the other color? I already said.
That's it. We only have these three. That's it.
So you don't have the fourth, which would be sort of like goldy yellow or something like that.
No. We have to have David do his job at some point.
Can we hit red? Given that we might bring Partagás up in a conversation. By the way.
Yeah.
I a bit like what's that device that measures earthquake tremors?
Richter scale.
Well, Richter scale is the scale, but sort of a rictometer kind of thing. There is a word for it. It's gone out of my brain. Something that I thought it was called the Richter scale. So you'll have to forgive me. The Richter scale, as far as I know, and I say this humbly, is the level of tremor. Now, what I do, I sense a tremor, a bit like I sense a distant tremor of someone who knows something far more about cigars than perhaps you and I put together might be joining the program.
You mean our sommelier is going to actually show up today? Yes, he has told us that he is coming.
I think he's just going to come on to berate me for my T-shirt choice.
I'm going to berate you for your T-shirt choice as well, but I'm just waiting.
How lucky with the let's start on that side. Duran.
Yeah.
Duran. I believe this is from their 1985 or 86 concert.
Wow, look at you giving like dates and stuff. You are.
It's a reissue, but it was this or a very flamboyant sort of like red Versace T-shirt, and that wasn't going to fly.
No.
So I thought this is far more me.
It really does look like you. And when our sommelier shows up, if he shows up, we'll run the opening credits. This is just our little banter, which the fans enjoy apparently. And let me just say before we start, I'm smoking my CAO Brazilian Amazon. And while I was waiting for you guys, this was pretty full, and now it's not. So there you go.
looks like a urine sample.
Well, it was Macallan
early morning issue. Early morning issue,
yeah. And it is my first drink in my left hand, so I'm very excited about that. So,
I had a message yesterday from cigar analyst Ali.
How's Ali?
And I'm giving him a bit of a shout out because he asked me to bring up something in conversation that not only did I get not a chance to recheck it, but I say my brain span is like 15 minutes. If it's older than 15 minutes, I tend to forget. He mentioned something about. He said, "Wouldn't this be a good topic to talk about?" I think he was talking about I think it was world economics and the ability for everyone to destroy each other. That
Oh, we
mad,
can have that
mutually assured
dialogue.
destruction. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what the relevance necessarily is to cigars, but I think he thought that I would go off on one. I myself would kind of explode on one if that
You
topic
know
came
what
up.
we
But I'm
can
not
do?
100% sure. I'm not 100% sure that's
Right.
what it was, but that's what I
Well,
thought.
we were going to talk about the Cohiba lawsuit against the Cohiba USA against Habana Cohiba, and the Cubans won about the trademark. So we were going to talk about that.
And what is your thought on that?
I think I'm kudos for our U.S. justice system to actually do the right thing. I think they're 100% correct. You can't take their trademark. They've been Cohiba cigars longer than the Cohiba United States, and if they're not affiliated with them, then there's no reason that they should use their trademark. I'm 100% with that. And then we were also going to talk about New World versus Old World, or non-Cuban versus Cuban. But I'm very excited that they got to keep their trademark. I know that's not a politically good thing to say in the United States, but I don't care. I think it's very good. I'm very proud of the justice system here and the court system that said no. The Cohiba Habana, they've been around since Castro, so you can't use it in the U.S. without their permission or paying them. So I like that. It only took them 20 years to decide, but I like it.
I mean, I'm semi-cynical about these things. I think it's just a big storm in a teacup. I think it's great publicity for both sides, to be very honest
Okay.
with you. I think.
I don't think Cohiba Habana needs publicity. I think they do fine
No,
without it.
what I mean to say is it's good in this sense. So imagine if someone builds a Rolls-Royce and calls it Rolls-Royce, right?
Right.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would cause a bit
A
of
stir.
a legal stir. But who
Yeah.
benefits? Rolls-Royce, the original Rolls-Royce benefits, because what happens
Right.
is someone has built something aspirational, and if you want the real thing, you come to us. I mean,
Yeah.
how is Rolls-Royce going to lose sales, if you know what I
Well,
mean?
here's the thing. I think if you're going to start looking at quality and you're starting to look at flavor and you start getting into the nuts and bolts of things, and we always talk about cigars are a lifestyle and whatever. If the U.S. side of it, if you will, the non-Cuban, if their cigars are adequate, and I've had the Cohibas that are non-Cuban, they're adequate. They're not anything to write home about. I mean, I don't buy them because they're just, yeah. But if I'm Cohiba SA, I could see where you'd be like, that's not good.
Yeah, but
You're screwing up our brand.
no one is going to confuse a Dominican Cohiba for a Cuban Cohiba. No one's going to
You
do it.
yeah, you say that, but there's people in America that have never smoked a Cuban, and they wouldn't know a Cuban if it bit them in the ass. And I'm not even talking about
And
cigars,
but
but
they're not the
I'm
market.
just saying.
But then equally, they're not the target
At
market.
the market. I understand that, but my point is I think it's good though that if you have a mark, and you're like, hey, listen, it's our mark, that a court should say that's correct. Well, if I decide I'm going to start building Ferraris, they're not really Ferrari. Ferrari would come after me tomorrow. They're very, I think that's a good thing.
They would, and they'd be entitled to.
Right.
And to some extent, it's only right because that's what that's the whole point of going through the effort of branding and
Mhm.
creating mark. I get it, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
But actually, even using the word cynical is not right. Yeah. The analytical part of me says, well, actually, no one has lost. Everyone has gained. Everyone has
Right.
benefited. And when you go trigger to the legal process is there just to highlight that here we are. So
Right.
it's like instead of spending, I don't know, £1 million on branding, you spend £200 million. Instead of spending £1 million, you spend £200,000,
Yeah.
and you get more marketing.
Talking about
That's
marketing.
how I see it. That's how I see it. Right.
That's fine. And talking about marketing, there she is, ladies and gentlemen, Princess in her shirt. She just came in from the fields, and she made it finally. She's a minute late, but she's here.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell. Are
look,
my
Hello,
eyes
squad.
deceiving me? I think
I
my
know.
Hello.
eyes
Look,
are deceiving me.
wait. Let's just do this because the fans that are not on the podcast that are watching live may want to just see. Look, it's real. It's not
Yes,
AI.
your
There you
eyes are
go.
not deceiving you. That
Yeah,
is
really.
Usman.
It
Usman Abed,
is me.
cigar guy PK,
Who knew?
of Cuban fame, world
Mm,
traveler,
mm.
cigar sommelier, one of
Oh
the
shit.
only Pakistani certified Habanos sommelier. Did you like the way I put that wording together? Did you like the way I put that wording together?
I
Uh,
kind of tell you I got a chubby.
and
That's how excited I am.
and The reason I'm building him up is because
you're going to build him down later.
Usman today is going to deliver a brief
Oh.
history of the Partagás cigar, because this is what we've been discussing all week. He's
Yeah.
going to do the brief history. Now, the reason why Usman looks that way, is because my younger
he's
brother.
frozen.
Yeah, I'm going to give him
Yeah.
some love today, right? I
Why?
prepared some history, but what I would like Usman to do is to put the seasoning on it. Just a little bit of seasoning that also this, also this, also this.
Now, before you put
reasonable?
the seasoning,
Usman,
Osman,
hang
before
on,
you
you've been
speak,
speaking too much, Usman.
yeah, Osman, you
What I
got to
was going to
stop talking
say,
right now. We got to run the intros, but you hold that thought.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to Habanos Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live.
hang on, but this is not live, it's recorded.
Every Saturday live.
Hey, welcome to the show, kids. We're here. No, I always like to do that. Anyway, really quick before we start, we just talked about for the people that are just joining, including Usman, who was late. We just talked about the Cubana SA versus the Cubana USA, Cohiba USA lawsuit and how they won, and we can touch on that again. Talking about old world versus or Cubans versus non-Cuban cigars, which is better. We already know Riz's opinion, and we're going to talk about Partagás today, and then for fun at the end to make Ali happy, better known as cigar analyst, we're going to have a geopolitical discussion on what's going on in the Middle East and globally. So that'll be fun. So if you're in Iraq, Iran, Israel, you may not want to watch this. Anyway, there you go.
Or equally, you may want to watch this.
You may want to watch it because you need insight from us. So there you go. Now, Usman, stop talking so much and tell us something.
Hello, gents. How are you?
We are good, my friend. How are you?
I am very well. Thank you very much for being with me.
Yes.
Having said that, what is my dear friend, aka Reza, doing? It's a cigar show.
No,
it's a cigar show. It's not an 18 plus.
No. Unbeknownst to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I have discovered
There we go.
a lollipop, which is not only in the Partagás colors, but it gives me that deep, rich Partagás leaf profile, that flavor. And so today, before I go for my big smoke somewhere in town, somewhere perhaps in Belgravia, maybe.
It's called Tom Tom. Is that it? Is that where you want to drop any names?
Could be.
Let me pick that up for you. Go ahead.
Could be. I thought I'd do so Usman didn't see this yet. It's not a coincidence that I'm wearing a Duran Duran t-shirt.
Yeah. Let's get a close up of that for the fans.
This is what there you go. Duran. This is what I found closest in color scheme to
Partagás.
A Partagás band.
Now, here's what's really good. Usman is dressed like the American flag. Apparently, he's going to the military parade later in Washington, D.C., so we're very excited about that.
Well,
there you go.
Thank you very much for saying that. The only thing is, it's summers and it's killing summers right now. So linens and colors have come out.
There you go.
Here it's 40 degrees Celsius in Lahore of consistency.
What are you talking about? What earth are you talking about?
Well, one of our mutual friends just sent me this morning.
Yeah, that is like very early mornings or very late nights. Right
what
now, in the afternoon, it is almost 47, 48 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Average.
That's 100. That's 108 for the people that can't do Celsius. That's about 118 Fahrenheit. Just so.
Yeah,
that's a remarkable coincidence because that's normally the temperature I keep the cigar at when I'm smoking it. I normally do a cold smoke. It's sort of at the end. It's about 47 degrees.
Wow, thanks for slowing up the show.
No, my only question is, are we talking to the Raza we know, or is this the AI which is?
Oh no, this is the one. He's going to go off on it. He's going to go off on a tangent.
A bit like the fake Cohiba. I've had to rebrand myself.
Here it comes.
In the light of customer and colleague feedback, I've had to slightly rebrand, become.
Wait.
Now.
Wait. Let me go back. Customer? We have customers? What customers? We don't sell anything. What customers do we have?
Viewers, audience, customers who consume data.
Oh, got it. Okay. So what if our I thought our audience, especially everybody that gives comments, wants you to be the old Rizza. Who's the people that want you to be a pussy? Who's the people is that Nick Foles? Did Nick Foles call you after you torched him last week and said what a terrible reviewer he was?
I actually didn't torch him. I actually presented my perspective on
Right.
I think
you said he sucked.
I enjoy about cigar journalism.
Yes, and he wasn't one of the ones you enjoy. Hello, Ali. Ali's here. But you said Nick Foles was the worst reviewer ever in your
You said
entire
that.
life.
You didn't. I don't know. You said that. I said that. He probably clearly knows his cigars. But what I
We're just
am
busting
seeing.
chops. Yeah.
Raza, who knows clearly cigars?
Nick Foles.
People like Nick Foulkes.
Okay, and what is?
Listen, mate. I can't win with you. You want me to be polite. You want me to be. You want me to be brutal.
The only thing I can say is,
you know what I do.
The only thing I'm saying is,
someone here in London in the cigar industry called me salty the other day.
Really?
He said, Reza,
did
you're very salty. You're very salty, and I think that person missed the point. I'm not salty. I'm absolutely brutal, but I'm making a massive effort to say exactly how I feel in a perhaps more digestible way. And
Let me ask you,
very kind of you, His Highness.
I put that to Usman. I put it to Usman. Usman is central to this. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a good way.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, unless BBC is giving us a show, you don't have to be. Anyway, so no, last week because you missed it, there was an article in the Financial Times. Nick Foles was talking about the BK 58 being the cigar of the year. It's like saying Rolls-Royce makes the greatest car on the planet if you're into that, right? So we were kind of making fun of Nick and just making fun of being a dandy and whatnot. And Rizit was tearing him apart.
I think this is just going to die a death eventually. I think times are going to change. All this foppishness, this dandiness, this is going to be. I don't say that it's irrelevant. I say that it's just not connected in an intrinsic way to the product. If we are talking, if we're going to be very, very serious and talk about cigars very, very seriously, or we're going to talk about a product or a car, for me, from my perspective, what I enjoy is getting to the root. Now, it could be from an agricultural process, it could be from a historical process, it could be from a branding process. What I don't enjoy, I genuinely don't enjoy. I don't enjoy the fluff that goes around cigars. Okay, I'm also slightly old world. I had this opinion that journalists should know their place. Journalists are journalists. Cigar retailers and tobacconists are cigar tobacconists. Customers are customers. What's happened with social media is everyone's blurred the lines. Every cigar tobacconist, with few exceptions, wants to act out a lifestyle as if they are the end customer. Okay. Right, that's what I see. That's how I see it. Okay.
I am extremely sorry to interrupt, but do I get in this entire extreme heated commentary of yours? Do I have the permission to light up my cigar?
Please, if you would. We've been waiting for you for 6 hours. We've been talking about you the whole time. By the way, just so you know, Ali, the cigar analyst, says the highlight of last week's show was you trashing Nick Foles. He also says is Mac Foles the one who called you salty?
No, that was someone else. But because I like that person,
Max or the person that called you salty?
I'm going to give them an opportunity. I'm going to go that person who runs a major cigar lounge in London.
Okay.
I'll get them another way.
Okay. There's only two people that run major cigar lounges. Go ahead.
Well, the fact is, I didn't know what cigar history Raza is going to review today.
You should have watched the show. We talked about it last week.
Yeah. So, but I still thought I would smoke something called Partagás.
Nice. Look at you.
Perfect.
Right.
Can we see a cut? Can we see a cut and light up?
Yeah, I've cut it already, but I can show you the cap.
And Ali asked what I was smoking really quick. Ali, I am smoking my usual CAO Brazilian Amazon this week. Rizit is sucking this week.
I'm going to smoke the industry. I'm going to smoke the industry.
Yeah, so I'm smoking a D5, which is Partagás D5.
Yeah. Okay.
It was released as...
Usman, can you hold it up while you light it so we can have a little bit of a lighting video?
We're going to do a close-up so we can scare the fans. There you go. And for you people on the podcast that can't see it, right now he's holding his cigar, he's fondling it. You know what I'm talking about. And now he's lighting it like a professional. He's burning the foot. And now he's going to light the cigar. So it's very exciting. And I have a question while he's doing this. If you're an orphan, can you eat at a family restaurant? Anyway, here we go. So, all right. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's a beauty. You don't see things like that
That's a
every day.
bullseye.
There you go.
That's a bullseye.
Congratulations.
Thank you much. Yeah, Reza, please continue.
With?
I don't know whatever rant you're going on about.
With the roasting you were doing.
Well, it wasn't roasting. I agree with his point. A lot of the cigar reviews that you see, or whether it's cigars, cars, or watches, people are trying to produce a lifestyle. A friend of mine sent me something that they're studying in Wharton yesterday about Ferrari, and it talked about their marketing and all this bullshit. And they go, "What do you think?" And I go, "It's bullshit. Ferrari, like a cigar, wants you to think of a lifestyle, not that it's exclusive or anything. It's a lifestyle." And I said, and I got that from Mr. Rizza. So I think that's part of your point. Is it's not a lifestyle. And we're like our cigar show. There's no lifestyle. It's just us. We talk about what we like and what we don't like. We give you the history of a cigar. We tell you our opinions. If you like them, great. If you don't, go play my favorite game.
I think there is clearly a place for the lifestyle branding. I think it clearly works. I think that is the best way to introduce younger cigar smokers into the into the market.
Right. But we didn't get introduced that way, though. When we were growing up, we didn't have a lifestyle.
Sorry.
When you and I grew up, and including Usman, even though he's 13, he just looks older. But when you and I started to smoke cigars, there was no lifestyle crap. There was no Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or any of this. You smoked a cigar because it's something you wanted to do, and you enjoyed it because someone in the family or a friend introduced you to it.
I'm finding that increasingly that first step of knowing the product is being left out in the educational loop. Okay,
gotcha.
That's at a serious level. What's happening is, people will smoke a cigar because they saw it on Instagram, and that's fine. That's cool. I have no real issues with those things. What I'm saying is the crucial step that is missing is that understanding the product itself. If you go and buy a Ferrari, put the lifestyle to one side. Most people that buy Ferraris and Lamborghinis are complete fucking knobs, yeah? Okay?
Yes, I agree.
The enthusiast that goes and says, look, I have X amount of money, I want to buy a piece of history, is the same type of enthusiast that I would like to see in cigar smoking circles. I'm finding less and less of them, which might be a nice thing. Which might be a very nice thing because less means more value to that person, means that when you find people who really know their product, and I absolutely am humbled and enjoy when I vet. I go on and on about this to Usman, and I get carried away. But when you vet your cigar smoking circle, what I mean is this: you go and smoke around people that have something to contribute to the conversation about the product, not about, oh, I smoked this in Monaco or this or that or the other. And those things are fine as well, but they're absent of product information and product dialogue and product history. And so going back to this, that's why we started doing these histories, because if this program represents our personalities, that's the thing that I like to scratch underneath the surface of, is the history. And what entices me to smoke a Partagás, for example. Why a Partagás? Why La Gloria Cubana? Why a Cuap? Why?
Talking about that, if Usman ever shows back up, would you guys like to do the Partagás history and tell everybody about the
Let me do a
intrigue and the
Partagás history. Let me do a very quick Partagás history. If with Usman's permission, let me do a quick roundup.
No permission.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going for the big countdown.
Well, you're talking of the brand that was initially introduced in 1827? Go ahead.
No, so I'm going to go for a brand that formalized itself. So am I going?
Here you go. You're on. You're done.
So this history of Partagás spans back approximately 180 years to 1845. Don Jaime Partagás, who came over from Catalonia in Spain to Cuba. Are you talking over me?
No, God forbid.
Oh. Don Jaime Partagás came over from Catalonia in Spain, took over some tobacco plantations and a factory which was very famously in the center of Havana. And you can Google all the details, and Usman is going to fill me in on the details. But that he died in very mysterious circumstances about
Dun, dun,
15, 16
dun.
years later. Some people say there was a lover's tryst. Some people say that it was to do with underselling, selling cigars under someone else's nose and undercutting the market. There's a Netflix series, I imagine, or even a mini movie that could be dedicated to this kind of lost mystique of Jaime Partagás. But what happened is his son took over, then his son sold this to some Spanish bankers. So this, and they then in turn sold it again. So it was sold and traded. This Partagás named factory was sold and traded many times. Jaime Partagás himself seems to have, from what research I've done, a considerably nice reputation. He was very good to the tobacco growers, the farmers, etc., etc. And he built a reputation for a slightly exceptional brand of cigars because he focused on the leaves and the blending process, etc., etc. And the reason why, well, one reason why he was good to his farmers and growers and people working in the factory is he's the first person to have known to have employed a lector, someone who would read to the cigar rollers to keep them in a bloody good mood. And if you believe in osmosis, what happens is if people are in a good mood, that translates into their fingers and they produce a better product. Sort of sates them, calms them down. So this is a 180-year-old history, and in about 1960, this factory had been passed down through various hands, various families, was basically grabbed by Fidel Castro and said, look, now you're going to produce this under the government remit. And so if you're going to study the history of Partagás, so you're going to smoke a Partagás, actually, the thing that you're smoking is something that's very entrenched. It's almost like the central leaf, the ligero in a cigar. If you pull that out, that's the thread that binds the whole that whole cigar history together of cigars in Havana. It's very old. There's no end of vitolas in Partagás. Actually, two of my favorite cigars are Partagás, the Partagás culebras, which is a snake, the three that are intertwined, and one that the Partagás habaneros, not necessarily the most expensive cigars, but the Partagás habaneros that taste like a chili. It's the color red. Perhaps that represents Jaime Partagás's blood.
That's
I
his
don't know.
Jewisism.
I'm making stuff up in my head. But I always have in my head these sort of exotic stories about where this cigar came from, what ties me to it. And I think it's a very romantic old story about how a brand started. There's no end of Partagás labels. There's a great book if anyone really wants to do a deep dive on Partagás. It's called the Partagás book, which is black with a red band on it. That is it. I think I did quite well. How long was that? 3 minutes? 4 minutes?
No, we're not done yet. All right, Usman, add on to it.
Oh, tag team.
Okay. Well, Raza, thank you very much. The only couple of other things that I'd like to add more to this is that the brand actually was formulated in 1827. The formality or 1845 is used for calculation purposes because the Partagás factory came into existence at that time. So the brand had been in circulation since 1827, but in 1845, when the factory was there, that is when the brand got more recognition and moving on. For a lot of people who might have visited or might not have visited or something like that, if you go to Cuba, Havana, the new Partagás factory, because they've actually moved after just a few years ago to a new factory. That new factory is, by the fascia of it, is very much kept like the old one to give it the same kind of memorabilia and all of that from that perspective. The very interesting fact is that in 1960s, when there was a very common practice of getting cigars for your own self, or notable people or notable organizations would get cigars specifically for them, Partagás was the factory and the brand which was done the most, in addition to Romeo and Julietta's, specifically with the bands for them and in terms of the names for them. So you would find catalogs which will have a lot of cigars by Partagás, which you won't find regularly, but if you come across, you will see they were made specifically for a specific institution, organization, cigar lounge, a person, or something like that. Which is exactly why, if you look into the Vitolaria of Partagás, there are more than 100 of Vitolas which are discontinued, and this is considered to be one of the biggest collection of cigars that have been into production and out of production. And just, I'm sure many of you know, and Raza definitely knows, we in Pakistan use the term, or we have a very, very famous car. I'm sure most of the South Asian side has Toyota, and Toyota makes a car called Corolla. So we have a term here in Pakistan, the Corolla of things, which is like this is the most sold, most reliable of those things. In that context, the Corolla of Habanos, or the Corolla of cigars for the last few years, has been the Partagás D4, which is the most sold cigar in the last 3-4 years, which surpassed the Monte Cristo number 2, and now is the favored most and most smoked Habanos within the world.
There you go. There you go, kids. Now you have the history of Partagás from A and B. And Jaime Partagás was a Jew. Who knew?
Ah.
Now
All right,
you
let's
can
get
get the reason I'm putting this up. The reason I'm putting this up is Usman referred to the new factory, and there's the address.
Yep.
there you go. For people on the podcast, he's showing
And the
us.
other thing
Yep.
is, Usman just referred to the Partagás D4 as sort of like the bread and butter of the
Yep.
industry. It's very interesting you mentioned that, because it's a Robusto sized cigar. And in the UK, in Hunters and Francow, for the last month and a half, have been running this competition where everyone is blind tasting Robustos to see what is their favorite Robusto. And that competition will culminate in October this year. I'll be very interested to see if it is the D4 by way of taste, because it's blind tasting. If it is the D4 that wins,
Well, let's
that
see.
would be interesting. That'll be because what if it doesn't win? It means that tastes are changing, but it could also mean that the blends have changed. I don't know the answer, right?
Well, the blends, well, the blends have changed for many cigars. In any case, if you speak to big collectors, if you speak to people in the industry who've been long enough, let's say Edward or AJ, or people like that, or I mean, big collectors who've been out there collecting cigars since the 70s, 80s, and are in that age bracket. Up as per them, the blend of the pre 2000s and the blend after pre 2000 are different. And then there are people who say there are 2008 and 9 onwards the blend is changed, and there are some who say
it does.
The blend has changed post 2013, 14. So there are a lot of things around, but since there is no confirmation and there is no specific information out about it, so you can't be certain.
Yeah, it's a secretive industry. But people like me, who are sort of like McDonald's generation, right? We want a Big Mac to taste like a Big Mac, even 20 years later or halfway around the world, right? That's when you pick up a Galanes, you expect a certain flavor profile, you expect a certain smoke, and that's what you want. When it changes, it normally doesn't change for the better, because you get used to a certain flavor profile, right? And I think this Hunters and Francow thing this year about blind tasting, I sense that this may be due to the fact that blends are changing, and rather than saying this is what this is, just say what do you like. Do you know what I mean? I think it's to do with this.
Fair
Just a
point.
quick a question towards Usman on this, by the way. This topic Stephen raised last week for this. What do you think about this Cohiba versus Cohiba thing. What do you think?
Right.
And don't be politically correct and don't be a pussy. Tell us what you really think.
Like me.
Yeah, be like a RZA for this.
Okay.
No.
You should know. You should know. I say what I have to say.
Okay.
In terms of the cigars, there is no way I consider that shit made in, pardon my language, in the US to
I
be a
agree.
Cohiba.
Yep.
That is, to me, a shame of naming a cigar like Cohiba, because it is nowhere compared to the, I would say, the lowest tier of Habanos even. That I have a lot of regard and respect for a lot of New World and non-Cuban cigars, and I love them. But that is not a cigar I would ever spend my money on and buy it to smoke.
Why do you think they would have created these brands like Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, Upman, Cohiba? Why do you think?
Okay, again, there are certain facts and there are certain myths. There, if you see Upman, Romeo Julieta, Trinidad, Cohiba, Monte Cristo, Ojo de Monterrey, La Gloria Cubana, El Rey
Partagás too.
San Cristobal.
Partagás, San Cristobal. No, not San Cristobal.
No, I've seen Cristobal cigars.
No. La Gloria Cubana is there, not San Cristobal de la Habana. Because San Cristobal de la Habana is a specific de la Habana. So I have not seen it. Maybe if you've seen it, then I'm
it's the one with the parrots on it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the La Gloria Cubana?
No, San Cristobal.
Okay. So my mistake, right?
So I was right.
So all of these names and all of these cigars have been introduced either by claiming that this was the original family or the roots of the family which used to own that brand pre-revolution in Cuba, and they ran away and that's why they've done, or just because in order to block these names in the US market, so that when and if it happens that the Habanos gets a waiver because of the ban being lifted, there will be a concern on who owns the brand, and there is a brand established already by the name of it. So that's the thing. When it comes to cigars, I have kind of smoked many of them in the non-Cuban format also, and the only one cigar that I would say I was able to like, and I'm using, okay, perfect, thank you Raza. Right, but is it just San Cristobal or San Cristobal de la Habana? Because
no, these are no, they're just called San Cristobal. And it's trademark registered. Registered.
That's why I'm saying. So these are primarily either trademark registration issues. And also, and then whatever the thing was with the families, they sold those rights. General Cigar Company purchased them and then moved on. So it's just something which is continuing. Cuba fights saying that these are there. They have this saying that, oh no, this is not the right, because these were never owned by Cuba. They were owned by certain families who sold the rights. So to me, it's just a waste, and it's just to keep all of these names into the market by both sides. Let's be honest.
Who benefits? Who benefits?
Yeah, but the Cohiba people, they apparently didn't sell squat, because they're like, screw you, and they've been fighting since '97, and they actually won the SA part, won their name back. So, and I agree with that. There's and the problem is that, and this is why before you say who benefits, this is the problem. You get someone who's never smoked a Cuban, smokes a Romeo and Juliet or a Partagás or whatever here, and you said this as well. The problem is then they're smoking an inferior product for the most part. And so when they see it as a Cuban somewhere, they're like, oh, that's crap. But it's not, because it's a different everything.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the first things I learned when I was traveling abroad, and sometimes overseas. When I would do that, I would be like, oh yeah, this is made in the Dominican, not by naked Tahitian girls. And this is made in Cuba the proper way. And so it became, when I travel now, smoking Cubans is more of a delight, because there's more history, there's more this. It's not like we just have a Dominican thing and we're rolling some cigars. So
absolutely.
So But who benefits, I think, is the question. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to get off on a tangent.
No, who benefits? I think if we look into it on an overall space, well, yes, technically, some customers and some smokers also benefit because they get to smoke the same name in $2, $3, $4 as well. Which to me is again, I mean,
Yeah, but Usman, it's like fake Gucci bags, yeah? Fake
That's what
Gucci
I'm
bags.
saying.
Whoever wants
So
to
that's
buy
what
a
I'm
fake
saying. So
Gucci bag can buy a
that
fake Gucci bag, right? But I don't think, I think it's sort of like sort of an industry known fact. The person who's buying a fake Gucci bag is not necessarily in the market for a real Gucci bag. And if they are, it's at an aspirational level. So it's kind of everyone benefits kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, obviously judgment is obviously the correct judgment. Okay, right? If I started a cigar company and someone else copied me, well, first of all, that's actually quite a good compliment, right? But I
Right.
wouldn't want them to benefit just from all the hard work I've done. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is that this is a different market, right? It's you can't sell Cohibas. You're not actually selling Cohibas in the USA. You're just selling a cigar
Correct.
that has the word Cohiba written on it.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
Well, it's the same with Romeo
The
and
problem,
Juliet. It's the same with Romeo and Juliet, and it's the same
It's the
with
same
Partagás
way.
and everything else here.
It's the same
anyone.
way. By wearing a fancy suit, you don't suddenly become a cigar smoker, and that's exactly what I was trying to say last week.
Right.
Yeah, that's called
Well, no.
dressage. That's
Well,
called
no.
dressage.
You
Oops.
called them,
Oops.
if I'm not mistaken, a dandy. But anyway,
No,
yeah, but
dandy is
that's
a
the
very kind word.
okay.
Foppish. Foppish is the word I don't like because, to be very honest
Okay.
with you, men who take their style too seriously are becoming
Yeah.
women. That's a that
Right.
vanity is
We call
vanity.
them metrosexuals. The
Well,
metrosexuals.
you
They
can
can't do
call them
that.
that, right? Yeah, but if you really want to play this old world thing, then
Yeah.
stop being such a
Pussy.
yeah. In theatrical terms, it was called lovies and darlings. There's a lot of people that worked in
Hmm.
the theater 100 years ago were gay, right? Okay, and
Right.
that's fine, right? Okay,
Right.
but the cigar smoking activity that's promoted as a sort of very manly, visceral, connective experience, a smoking experience. It is, men have their world as well. Women have the world of
Right.
makeup, right? Okay, we don't
Yeah.
intrude on the world of makeup. Men have their world as well. We're entitled
Right.
to certain things. Well, it's not entitled. We've created certain things, certain
Right.
environments for ourselves, but this dandyishness
Yeah.
doesn't sit well with me. It has its place. I'm not arguing, but it doesn't sit well with me. Okay, I think it's taking a person too seriously, not taking the product too seriously. It's taking the lifestyle too seriously, not the actual product consumption seriously.
Right.
That's how I think about it.
I
That's
I
how I
think
think
I
about it.
agree with you. I agree with you, and I also disagree with you. And when I say I disagree with you,
In other words, you
I
sit on the
disagree.
fence.
Pardon?
oh,
You
you're a
sit on
fence
the
sitter.
fence.
No,
He likes
see,
that.
I'm not sitting on the fence. I'll tell you why. See, for some it is lifestyle. For
Right.
some it is just the product. For some it is just being out there and posing. I have a problem with all the posers. I have no problem with the lifestyle one because if somebody actually wants to dress nice
Right.
and want to have that, that's perfectly fine.
That's
I'm
no
okay with
problem.
that
That's
as long
Right.
as
Right.
they are true to the entire lifestyle.
that
Just the
I agree with you. I agree with you. But what the only reason this conversation came up, to be very honest, was about the Bahi K58 article
I understand.
last week,
On
and it's
that
not
I'm
about the
totally with
article.
you.
It's not about the article. It's not about the
Right.
content. It's really this style of journalism. I made a little bit of a joke last week. I said. It's just self-affirming. It doesn't add anything. It's like if Rolls-Royce
Right.
brands itself as the best car, and you say, "Oh yes, Rolls-Royce is the best car because it brands itself as the best car because I drive a Rolls." That has no meaning. It
Right.
has no meaning.
But okay, but my question is Rolls Royce the best car in the world?
That's debatable. But if you
Right.
start talking about the engineering, if you start talking about the history, if you start talking about the product itself, that's something that people can come to their own conclusion about, right? We could talk
Right.
about
Exactly.
Partagás Cigars and Partagás history. We could
Right.
talk about Quai d'Orsay. By the way, out of all of these histories, the one that's still sticking in my brain is the Quai d'Orsay. I find that very, very interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, but if that little product information makes you sort of gravitate towards a product a little bit more. I think that's far more relevant than
Agreed.
the
Agreed.
lifestyle element. Okay, and what I'm seeing, at least whether it's social media, meeting people, I think that element is totally diminished and overrun by lifestyle smokers, lifestyle discussions.
That I agree to 100%.
And so the people that talk very seriously about cigars, whether it's how to communicate the personality of a particular vitola with another person, right? Okay, whether it's the band, whether it's the history of that particular regional edition, or whether it's about aging, these are real sort of bricks and mortar or very core product discussions that I don't necessarily hear often anymore.
I'll give you a litmus. I'll give you a very interesting litmus test for this, right? I hear you what you're saying. I agree with that.
Thank you.
You know,
say one more time.
You're primarily referring to the instances, nuances, and what is happening in London,
everywhere,
everywhere.
London, Europe, US, and most of the part of the world because of what you see. Now, when I talk about the countries like ours or this part of the world, this is true. This is true, but we have this still not in that proportion as compared to what is happening in the West. And why is that? Is because cigar smoking on this side is still more of a luxury, and someone who has the affordability of all the things in life, this comes after that kind of a thing, right? That's one part. Two, the litmus test I'm referring to is, I have a very clear, because I meet a lot of people like this as well, as you're referring, the ones who actually want to have an absolutely expensive kind of a cutter or a lighter or the paraphernalia attached to the cigar smoking or accessories. I love them. I buy them as well. But I don't just go buy them because I've seen that. I need to have that because I have to post it somewhere.
Right.
I will buy what I actually need, or if I really like it, I will go and buy it for the sake of my personal enjoyment. But the litmus test I'm referring to is, I ask them, let's have a smoke. And when I smoke with them, I ask them to come for a smoke, or I meet them for smoke at the places that you would actually be first confused. Oh, is this? Because see, Pakistan does not have as many cigar lounges as you have. So
Thank you.
If they are just going to tell me that they want to meet me in a cigar lounge specifically, or in a fancy restaurant or something of that sort only, it tells me what they actually want. And the ones who are real cigar smokers, who don't really care of all of this, and I'm talking about very serious cigar smokers, the ones who would have more than 70 DuPonts and 90 accessories as well. I'm actually talking of those. But are genuine cigar smokers, they don't care. When they have to smoke a cigar, they will sit on a roadside in a cafe where they can't find seats inside, and they just grab those stools out on the road and they're smoking. And I've done that. And I've seen a few of them. So I enjoy my cigar smoking with them else. So I agree with you in principle in what you're saying, but yes, that's how it is.
So
let me just say this. As ZZ Top said it the best, there's nothing like a sharp dressed man. However, there's a time and a place where you need to be a sharp dressed man.
that's from the Eliminator album. Eliminator.
Yes, that's very true. And there's a time and place, like you can dress like a schleb and you can go have a smoke. And that's the difference between people that, when I smoke my cigars out, whether I'm dressed or I'm not, I'm smoking the cigar I like with the people I like and whatnot. I'm not doing it, and which you all know because you follow me on Instagram. If I take a picture of anything, it's the cigar, it's this, there's no pictures of me. It's not about me. It's about the cigar that I'm enjoying. And that to me is the most important thing.
No, there's a place for everything. There's a place for every type of smoker, right? Okay.
Is there?
Or the only commentary that I'm giving, and it may be inconsequential, the only commentary I'm giving is the people who are really serious to talk about the product are diminishing in number. I'm really lucky. I bump into Usman is lucky because I guess when you get to a certain level of smoking exposure, you inevitably surround yourself with people and you vet people, consciously or subconsciously, who are on the same plane, or you can learn something from, or they can learn something from you about product. Okay, there's so and so regional edition coming out. Well, so the regional edition is interesting because it has a history, or because it has a particular flavor profile, or it's never been done before. We're going to see what it's about, not just because I want to smoke, Exclusivo, Asia Pacifico for the hell of it. Okay, there has to be. And what I'm seeing in the sort of the young cigar community, and it's really nice to have, I guess some of our regular followers on here include Ali and Carson. These are relatively young people. They're interested in what is that core level of the product, apart from the discussions that we have. And I guess, this educative process, I wish I had it. I wish I had the benefit of that kind of education in a product that was going to go and become my hobby. So if 25 years ago, if I had known, if I had this access of information, I would be far more entrenched. It is what it is, right? But they're kind of lucky. They have people who project these products. I'm just seeing something that I don't find enjoyable. I just find this is sort of like a lifestyle mishmash, each to their own, but that's all I see. Okay.
Well, that's why I think people like our show, because our show is, if you will, the two experts and the schlep. And it basically is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for remembering.
Yes, you're an expert. And
Why do you call me a schlep?
I was talking about the schlep in me and the two experts.
No. I'm the schleb. You're the expert. But I'm just saying, you got the three of us with all different opinions that are cigar lovers. Some have a higher knowledge in certain areas than others, which is fine. We give the history, but then we actually have a dialogue like you would at a chemist, a cigar lounge, at dinner. And that's the part of the show where these lifestyle people don't do it. They sit there and they're like, well, this is but my pocket square, who cares? It's a cigar show. If I want to know about clothing, I'll follow someone who does fashion. So I think that's why people like our show.
I'm enjoying something about this dialogue. I don't even see it as a program. I don't even see it as a YouTuber. I see this as two friends, three friends sitting down to have a little bit of a discussion, and it would be great if other people did this kind of thing. One thing I'm enjoying about this is for at least the past 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks, right? Okay. We're talking about a topic, even if it's for 5 minutes, we're talking about something that people generally don't talk about. What is the history of this? And it is quite interesting. It's if someone else was talking to me about the history of, I don't know, Trinidad or La Gloria Cubana, my ear would prick up and say, well, actually, I'm waiting for a nugget to come out of this. Why does this brand exist? Why am I smoking it? What is special about it? You get you have Mercedes-Benz, you have BMW, you have Audi, etc., 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 etc. People tend to spend money based on fashion and what they're told to in the marketing. What I enjoy are discerning customers. Those discerning customers who are interested in a particular thread of history that either ties them to a brand or a product, or gets them interested in trying. And that's what I enjoy about the discussions that we're having. And it clearly is working because people prick up and listen and say, hang on, what's different here? Yeah. I think today, just between Usman and I, right, in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, there is a good delivery of, now it's digitized, it's on YouTube, right? If anyone wants to have a very good, quick, they can either Google, they can get AI results, or they can listen to two people with great enthusiasm, I hope, talking about something that is relevant to them, that's been relevant to their smoking history, that's relevant to the way they choose cigars. That is sort of, I don't see it anymore. I don't see it.
I don't generally talk about a lot of people and all of that stuff.
We do. We do it.
Well, okay, yeah, I know. There's one person, I don't like his style of smoking. I'd be very honest about it. I'd say it up front.
Thank you.
But what I really like about him is, well, none of us is what I'm talking. What I like about him, and especially his podcasts or live sessions, are that is also a conversation of two real cigar smokers who love their cigars, who talk about cigars and life and all the other things that happen around them. And I have to give that credit to Lawrence Davis of Souters, because whenever I have seen his live sessions with Nick Hammond, I actually see two friends sitting and just having a chat and a smoke. Even when they did few of their podcasts where they actually sat down to smoke a specific cigar and do some reviews, they were talking about, and Lauren doesn't give a damn about you like him smoking that way or not. I hate the way he chooses cigar, trust me, but
It's
I
very
like,
old world. It's very old
yeah,
world.
yeah, but I know, but I like the authenticity when it happens. That's the only thing I'm referring to right now.
Yeah, each to their own. You need a portfolio of different. I mean, if you really want, if
Steven,
you're
Steven, do you see someone's uneasiness?
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Yeah, go on, sir.
Be yourself.
I'm scared. I'm actually scared of being myself in case I start World War III, because I'm very capable. I'm very,
Started.
No,
very
the
capable.
World War III is starting next to my neighbors and the
I
neighbors
was
in
just going to say Israel and Iran or
I
Iraq
think,
are
I
looking
think,
at
yeah.
I
bombing you.
think
They're
all of
already
this.
starting it.
I think unless
Yeah.
you take a dive into your history and product, you're
I agree.
just fucking burning tobacco leaves. You might as well give it up and
Agreed.
find a different hobby.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Totally agreed. Totally
Yeah,
agreed.
and all the little fucking pipsqueaks and upstarts out there, right, who are lifestyle smoking. Yeah, good for you. Great for you. Great for the industry. Yeah. Imagine what you could attain if you actually understood the product as well.
I don't
There
think
are
it is
people who
good
are
for the industry.
publicizing. I mean, some of the launches in London of these shitty little cigars with brands that, oh, we're smoking in the, the old war office and etc. etc.
Yeah.
She's smoking a shit fucking cigar, right? A $2
Right.
cigar, and you're projecting lifestyle. Yeah, fuck yourselves,
I
right?
hate that.
Okay,
I hate that.
and that's how I think. Okay, now unfortunately, if I genuinely go. So even my compliments are a little bit guarded. My compliments are guarded. My insults are guarded. Now I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm not trying to compliment anyone. Right. What I'm trying
Right.
to do is understand where the value is. Okay. I'm
Right.
trying to understand where is value. Value is in great products, people who know about the product, people who are willing to talk about the product. People are willing to do a deep dive. Everything else is just surface. It's like, oh, I'm smoking this, sitting on the
Right.
balcony. I mean, fuck you.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed. Totally agreed on that point.
That's where you have to find the value, and you
Right.
have
But
to
if you're
find
not,
that value, and you have to, and for people who are starting out in this industry, or not industry, starting out with this hobby, and it is a hobby, smoking.
Mhm.
It's not for them. I kind of find that it's, whilst they have a plethora of information that I never had when I was starting out, it's
Right.
almost harder for them to find really great cigar moments because they're mostly superficial cigar moments. Like, what steak am I having right now? Oh, and by
Right.
the way, I'll smoke a D4 afterwards. It's not that way round.
Yeah.
It's not that way round. Yeah, it's not. Oh, I'm sitting in Hong Kong in a glorious lounge. By the way, I'm smoking a D4.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm smoking a D4 in this environment. This D4 has been humidified. And by the way, what adds to this D4 is the environment, not the other
Right.
way around.
Totally
And the
agreed.
company and the company
Yeah,
usually,
yeah.
if
And,
you're
and
with the
this
right
goes this
people.
goes to this goes to
Right.
what Usman is saying, that
Yeah.
for example, they say for grapes, the harder the terroir, the sweeter the grapes. Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
so in Pakistan, the terroir for cigar smokers is not very fertile. It's, you have to find your places, you have to find your
Well,
spaces.
Right.
these days, the biggest problem for us is where do you go and smoke? Because
But
restaurants, all the restaurants in Pakistan are okay and have a smoking section, but
Okay.
most of them are outdoors,
Mm.
right? So in the summers, it is not. So in summers, we are reduced to choices for let's say out of 100 restaurants, we are left with 2 or 3, which have an air-conditioned smoking zone as well, right? So you're limited to that, or you're limited to your home lounges, and in a home lounge also, you can only sit with a certain amount of people. I mean, you
Right.
2, 4, 5. So or because you don't have those industrial setups to get the smoke out. See,
Right.
a group of friends of us, 7, 8 of us, decided to smoke earlier this week, and I said, let's do it at my home. Now, we all enjoyed the company, we all enjoyed the cigars, but yes, because it is too hot, you can't sit outside, and in air conditioning, a home and one person would have at the max 1 air purifier, or let's say 2 air purifiers, and that too are not industrial grade. So after a while, it was slightly an uneasy kind of a thing. So we had to open certain windows and doors to air it out and then close it because it started to be heat. So in that kind of a situation, the ones who really are into cigars will show up,
Yeah.
and the ones
Right.
who are not, they will just conk off. And
That's
that's
right.
their mark.
The tendency is to bring out the more dedicated cigar smokers.
Right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
that's how it
But
is.
that's why, going back to the show, when we get together on Saturdays, as Rizzo likes to point out, in 3 different time zones and 3 different places
Yeah.
around the world, it's interesting because everybody brings a different perspective and everybody has what they know and what they like. But when we're together in person, it's the same mentality. We're smoking
Yeah,
with our
this is not
mates, and we're
there is
right.
no there is no real fakeness to this.
Yeah, this is
I'm
it.
pretty confident if anyone found 3 of us sitting and talking, this is exactly what the
Yeah,
discussions would
pretty
be
much.
like.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so for us, it's nice that we get to see each other every week and smoke cigars with each other every week. And Riz and I had this dialogue a week or 2 ago. Even if we didn't have the show, we would just do a Zoom smoke once a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like during
Yeah.
COVID, when people would have office parties because they couldn't,
Oh,
we would do the same thing. It would be the same thing,
you-
except we let you guys join us because of the history and some of the things, and then the interaction with the fans. So, you
I
know,
would say in during COVID, and all of this cigar smoking, a lot of this and the lifestyle thing and all of that stuff, most of
right,
it started post COVID,
right.
right? Because during COVID, when everyone was stuck, there was less, and I would say Zoom was the biggest savior because all of us real cigar smokers started to sit on that, and we started to enjoy, and it was like, okay, like we are sitting right now, and we would sit wherever we are. I mean, we would sit, and once a week, twice a week in the night, we would sit, and whereas and all of these fancy smokers, as you say, or the lifestyle smokers, disappeared at that time,
Yeah,
right? Because it was just the cigar smokers. And after that, again, it has, I think also, uh, the lifestyle smoking thing has also taken a bit more uh, trend, or has become more in, from that perspective, is that there are a lot of regulations on tobacco and tobacco marketing and all that
right,
stuff. So for the companies, these lifestyle smokers are their unofficial brand ambassadors,
right.
which is why you would see a few of them are very specifically marketing certain things, certain products, certain this and that. And that is their way of doing it because they can't do direct marketing. So this is their way of
it's
doing it.
viral marketing. If you get
Right.
people
Exactly.
interested, it's viral marketing,
And
right?
and, 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 and to be honest, I don't, on one side where I like the fact that I get more information sometimes, I
Right.
don't like that also, as you say, because I don't feel it has the soul of a
Piotr,
right.
shout out to Piotr. Yeah,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
on.
So
He's saying most of the cigar smokers, in addition to the moment, it's a very small percentage of people like us that are really crazy about what they smoke and go really deep into it. So thank you for that.
Can I slightly alter the word
oh
crazy? Can I?
wait. I see Peter Rosick has joined.
For some of the
Hi
people, I
Peter.
would say most of the cigars. He's
That's
just
why I just said
complimenting
Instead of
Rizzy.
crazy, instead of using the
He's
word crazy, the
he's
word I
complimenting
like to
Rizzy.
use, which I
Yeah.
want to promote here, is discerning.
Mm,
A discerning customer educates himself, or herself
Correct. Right.
about the product, has to know the product, has to know to make a choice. In order to make
Right.
a choice, most people are making choices based on whether a cigar is 25 pounds or 20 pounds or 50 pounds. Most people are either banned smoking or price smoking.
Right.
So the
I just
cigar,
saw. Yeah. Sorry.
the
Go ahead.
brand I was talking about, not was it last week? No, it was the week before. I was talking about Vagueros.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
right. Okay,
Yeah, we talked about it
2 weeks
3 weeks
ago.
ago.
2 weeks
2 or
ago.
3
Okay,
weeks ago.
okay, 3 weeks ago. The reason I was speaking about Vagueros, because up till then I'd been doing the K d'Orsay and the Cohiba and the
Yeah.
Trinidad. So I thought, look, it's not about them. It's not really about expensive cigars at this moment, right? If you have a little bit of understanding, those Vaguero cigars are, we said, produced in the same factory as Trinidad. There must be some crossover, whether it's product crossover, whether there is expertise crossover. When things are built in the same factory, just even people just talking to each other within different parts of the factory, there's a crossover of intellectual capital. All right, these Vagueros are bang for buck. They're relatively less,
Right.
but until you do a dive and do your research and do some understanding or gain some understanding, how would you find that
I
there's an
agree with
absolute
you.
gem of a brand
Yeah.
sitting there? It's Cuban, it's
Right.
complicated, it's got history, it's old world, and it's accessible to you at the same price point, less price point than a shitty new world cigar.
Raza, that is exactly why I was referring to the fact that Peter has joined the conversation. Hi, Peter. I met Peter in the Habanos Festival, an absolute gem, and someone who is. I really enjoyed meeting him. Someone in the industry, but doesn't give an
Oh, is
F.
Ruben's on as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ruben,
okay.
the Puerto Rican the Puerto Rican non-Jew. He's here. Who
Right.
knew?
So
So
Peter, what I'm saying is, he doesn't give a flying F
right.
as to who you are or what you are, as long as you're, in general, I'm saying, right? And it's a cigar smoker, and that's why he says is right that for a lot of people, it is just an addition to their experience of a dinner or a place and
Yeah,
all
it's
that
Right.
the other
stuff.
way
And
around.
I agree. Yeah, but for us, it is everything revolves around the cigar. So I
Right. Right.
agree, and that's why you can smoke wherever and whatever you want to. So, and I think I met a lot of these lifestyle smokers, and I met a lot of these real smokers like Peter and Ruben in person, and I enjoyed my time with them more because I could meet a person who was a cigar lover first, and everything came after.
Right.
So, having said all of that, and almost 1 hour into the show, I think it is time for both of the senior analysts to start the analysis for our cigar analyst on the beautiful nuclear strategy going on in Iran and Israel.
We can discuss that if you really want. Yeah, they should sit
I,
down and
I,
have a.
I'm the last of the persons who likes any kind of news. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's you guys. You
They
want to
should
talk
just
about it? Or?
they should just have a cigar and a scotch and
I
they'll
think
figure it
everyone
out.
should sit back, have a cigar, and contemplate life, and come to the conclusion that this world is better off if we all cooperate,
Raza, you're forgetting one thing.
communicate, and take care of each other.
Raza, you're forgetting one thing. You
What?
need to again say your regards and pay your regards to the president, and then
Donnie.
he's the one who's gonna make both of them sit tight. You know that very well already, right?
I predicted he would be back in power a year ago, and he is.
And of course.
So
And
not that
now
I'm
look at
saying
that. Yeah.
Usman's having to answer the door. I find global politics totally ludicrous. I find them
Yep.
mind-numbing. I said this to you maybe a couple of years ago, Stephen, on a different show within your
Yep.
thing. Yeah, right. When the aliens arrive, we'll all get cold feet. We'll all have to cooperate with each other.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what Reagan said too back in the 80s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let that happen. When the whole population of the planet faces adversity, we'll come
Yeah.
together. Trust me.
Now we.
Until then, it's a travesty. It's absolutely unmentionable what is going on in the world right now. Unmentionable.
I agree.
I was
And that's just not in the Middle East, but globally. It's like
Oh,
it's almost why can't we all get along? Seriously. And here's what's really funny about this whole thing. If we could put everybody into space, not just our girlfriends, because we have a small penis and we have to send them in a rocket ship, with her girlfriends. But if we, I don't want to mention any names, Jeff Bezos. I didn't want to say that. But if we would do, huh?
We just did.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Rewind,
Oh, shit.
pause, rewind.
Jeff, I'm so sorry. Listen, tonight at dinner,
now we said it
I'll
twice.
apologize.
What
No,
did you
it's
say?
okay. Jeff and I, we're tight.
Again,
I'll be in Monaco next week. We'll have dinner. We'll talk. Anyway, but my thing is, if everybody got a chance to go up and look at the little blue marble, and you realize how insignificant you are, and it is to the bigger scheme of the universe, maybe we would get along. I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Because if people are so greedy, and if you go back, and we've talked about this before, Nikola Tesla said, look, I can do free energy, and I can do this, and I can do that. And JP Morgan was all into it, and then said, no, because you can't make money with it.
It may not be the aliens. It may also be, because we're living in rapidly moving times, it could be the
Because of-
Terminator. It could be the
AI.
Terminator.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Stephen, I totally agree with you, and I actually have to give it to the person or the company.
Thank you.
We all know Volvo, which actually forfeited the right to put a copyright or a trademark or whatever licensing or patenting to the
Right.
seatbelts for the better good of the world. And now every car uses it, right?
Right.
So
Sure.
at the end of the day, it's about learning to live and letting others live.
Similarly for the internet, the inventor of the internet didn't put any patents on it. Anyone can use
Exactly.
Al Gore Sr., baby. Al Gore
Yeah.
Sr.
Absolutely. So from that perspective, I think ultimately all of us need to think that way, and better sense should prevail in all of these situations.
But they won't.
And that is exactly why sometimes I remind my dear brother on this side that it is okay to let those lifestyle smokers wander around in the city. Just
No,
don't,
it's
not
not.
parasites.
just don't
but
listen
not
to them. Don't
parasites.
sit with them yourself.
But not parasites.
And yeah, that's fine. And
No, what kind of parasites?
Oh, no parasites. Okay, happy. Okay, and then there is, and then Stephen, I see Peter has written, Raza, you should meet me. I am dreading the day Peter and Raza meet, because that'll be like, that'll be like power not multiplied by 2, multiplied by tens, because he doesn't also
let me.
Why don't we just bring them on the
do,
show?
Let me just remind
we should just
Peter.
have them together on the show together.
Oh my
And
God!
that'll be
let me
awesome.
just remind Peter.
Whatever he has to say.
Peter, I've had my wings clipped as of a couple of months ago. Right? Okay.
Well,
What you're
you did
seeing
that to
now,
yourself.
what you're seeing is a shadow of a man making an effort to placate his younger brother down there.
I
Right?
just threw up in my pants. Peter, let's listen. Have him come on the show next week.
Now I'm basically
a little bit.
I'm like you remember the old Spider-Man comics? Peter Parker is fighting between Spider-Man and his real self. Basically, I'm fighting between Usman and Steven. Steven is pulling me towards the dark side.
Yes.
Usman is pulling me towards the light side. And
That's a
I
terrible
exist
side.
somewhere in the middle as a commentator. Now I'm being very careful as to what I post.
Is this like the angel? Is this like the angel in Animal House?
No. It's a compliment. It's a
John
compliment.
Belushi?
It's a compliment to Usman that I've actually. You see, there are some people who actually take advice. I've taken Stephen's advice. Stephen keeps saying, "Let go, let go, let go."
Go.
So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to saddle both perspectives.
Hey, now, not that type of
I
show.
let go, but look.
Not last week you let go. Last week you let go, and
A
Nick
monkey
Flew
will be
said
a
there's
monkey, a
nothing.
parasite will be a parasite. Leave them alone. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
I
very
mean, a
much.
monkey is not worth talking about. A parasite.
That's exactly why I would say stop talking about the monkeys anymore.
I will not talk
Right now
about
also.
the monkeys and parasites in the industry who are there just lounge parasitizing.
Oh my God.
I won't talk about that.
I hear you, and I can totally understand the frustration. Let's move on.
And why don't we have your friend PR come on next week with Riza, and they can talk just freely. We should do that. Invite them. It'll be a fun show.
I'll speak to Peter, and I'll because he's also in a similar time zone as Raza. If I'm not wrong,
good.
he's based in he's these days in Ireland. He's Ireland and Poland is where he transits most.
See, there's a problem right away. He'll forget because Polish. They don't,
new exclusivo Ire, the Punch coming out on the 22nd of June.
Yeah.
With Hunters of Francow and Ampersand. Ampersand are in.
Peter, I know you will pull me on your side. There's a reason we have Steven to balance us out.
That's right. I'm on the dark side. It's like in Animal House. John Belushi had the angel and the devil. I'm kind of the devil. So I always like last week, I just kept pushing Riz on Nick Foulkes, which is so much fun. And everybody enjoyed the show. Can I tell you, one of the shorts got like 6,000 or 7,000 views where we were making fun of Nick. Yeah. So people agree with you, Rizza, that there's too much BS. There's too much crap. And really, there needs to be not more shows like us because we're the only show like this, but you need to have shows where it's like, here's the history, here's the cigar, everyone discusses, and then you kind of, you do whatever, not like being pretentious. And that's part of the problem with a lot of these guys is they're pretentious. And if you meet them, I wouldn't want to have a cigar. Half of these guys I wouldn't want to have a cigar with because I'm like, you're just 2%. I want you to be a regular person. Like, and that's what we say. If you meet the three of us, what you see here is pretty much what you're going to get. I mean, granted, if there's black ice in July, I'll push you in front of a bus, but don't worry about that. I'm just saying it's a different mentality.
It has its place. I'm trying not to be unfair. It has its place.
Be unfair. It has its place.
It has its place. It has its audience.
Who's the audience? Who's the audience for pretentious people? Other pretentious people?
There clearly is an audience. I think the younger crowd. We're talking sort of like 18 all the way up to about 30 years old, right? Yeah.
Children.
So certainly their first exposure of the cigar world these days is on the internet, is on their social media, is on Instagram and TikTok and da. And then if it's there, they're not going to listen to people talking. They're interested in Monaco,
lifestyle,
Ferrari, beautiful women, etc. So that's what catches the eye. That's what draws them in. Yeah. There's no problem with that. That's marketing. We started like we would go into McDonald's because the golden arches were there and we didn't know what it tasted like, but there was something alluring about it. So I get it, right? Yeah. Right. But what I'm trying to say is that's not the end of it. If you really want to if you want to be a hobbyist or you want to have this as part of your lifestyle, know something about it. And that information and education is disappearing. That's it.
Agreed.
And now you have this. And for the people that are listening or watching, if you go to our channel and you look under playlists or our playlists, I should say, you will find Habano histories and interviews. And we also
don't be a pussy. Educate yourself about your product.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, look, we have the Irish regulation out in Dublin. Next week, I have 20 friends coming. Here, he's exaggerating. He really has 2. He added a 0. I told you, Polish people, they don't know. He has 20 friends coming next week speaking about them idiots, industry, bit of good that still do promoting. Okay, so he's got friends that are influencers. So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the Punch. It's the Punch Regional.
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about.
Okay, Peter, that's fine. You do the regional thing next week.
What is it called? What is that vitola called? Usman, do you know what it's called? What it's called?
I haven't even researched so far.
What's this? By the way, talking about because our friend PR now
the last 2-3 weeks I've been a little occupied, so I haven't been able to.
Yeah, the dog ate your homework. We understand. Now the question is, what is whatchamacallit? What's our cigar next week for the kids that are going to be watching? Do we know?
I'll leave it to Usman. I've been picking them solidly for the past 5 or 6 weeks. I'll leave it to Usman.
We'll do Juan Lopez.
Juan Lopez?
Yeah.
Really, I think they just deported him, so we can't do him. So.
Let's do Juan Lopez.
Okay, Juan Lopez it is.
It's a very interesting brand. Yes, it has less cigars in the vitola, but there are a lot of regional and there are a lot of interesting stories. So let's do that. There are some good cigars about it. So let's do Juan Lopez next week.
Cool. And then PR is talking about he's bringing new smokers, introducing smoking to new people. That is very nice. Mm-hmm. I think Cheech and Chong did that in the 70s, actually. They introduced smoking to a whole bunch of new people.
That's right.
So here you go. Guys, as
Okay.
always, this has been, can I tell you, this is the best show I do every week because I'm with my two mates and I enjoy it the most because I get to drink scotch at 7 o'clock in the morning, which, who wouldn't
Yeah.
like that?
See,
And,
because of this, Peter
yeah.
is gonna love you more as well.
Right, because I drink scotch at 7 in the morning. As I told Rizzo when we started, I had a scotch in my left hand, and that was my first drink from my left hand. The right hand was drinking earlier, but anyway, that's okay. But I do have a philosophical question for the pans. Ruben is saying one of the Juan Lopez that I just enjoyed. He just grabbed.
Grand
Oh,
Pentagon. Nice.
so
Very
Ruben
cool.
Ruben will enjoy that next week as well for Juan Lopez.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask him.
Peter Magnum 50 is an undisputed favorite of mine, so I love it.
And then it's he's also Ruben's giving you more. So and
It's
Ruben
an
also
Vitola, that counts me out.
yeah.
Right.
And,
Yeah, so
and
what-
Ruben would be
sorry.
interesting. And Ruben would also be interesting if he ever wants to come on the show. But I know he's camera shy. That's the Interpol thing. But that's
Who's camera shy? Ruben?
Ruben's camera shy.
Ruben
Yeah.
doesn't take prisoners.
Let us take that shyness away this time.
Ruben, you come on. PR and Ruben should come on. One next week, one the following week, and it'll be like our own cigar herf. That'll be interesting. So, but I do have a question, and I saw this the other day, and I want one of you guys to answer while you're reading what PR just wrote. If you're an
Punch
orphan,
nectaris, he's right. Peter said punch nectaris.
yeah, I have a question now. Pay attention because I'm looking for Usman's reaction to this, but I think he froze. Usman, if you're an orphan, can you eat at a family restaurant?
If I am an orphan,
If you're an orphan, can you eat at a family restaurant?
why not?
Never mind, it's a joke. Okay. So, it's just like if I marry two midgets, is that bigamy? Anyway, with that said, we want to thank our fans as they're figuring those two jokes out because we are politically incorrect. Guys, it has been a pleasure. And then Ruben and PR, thank you so much. We look forward to having you both on the show at your convenience. And once again, tell your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and like. The podcast goes out tomorrow if you want to re-listen to it. The rebroadcast goes out later this afternoon. And we will see everybody, I guess, next week when we're going to do the Juan Lopez story, if you will. Is there anything else you want to say to the fans before we go other than subscribe and like?
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and forward it to your real cigar smoker friends who would like a real talk.
And my closing words are: take care of yourselves and of each other.
Oh my God, the AI has again.
Yeah, I know. So
Please run the credits, Stevens.
Run the credits. Run the credits.
One more down.